pitching out of New Jersey, we have Sneh Kadakia, founder of The Drop-In.
Thanks so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Sneh Kadakia, and I'm the founder and CEO of The Drop-In. Whether or not you already had the flexibility to work remotely prior to the pandemic, almost everyone on the call today and around the globe has now undergone the world's largest work-from-home experiment. And for the millions of us that live in suburb areas, working under less than ideal conditions at home, we have quickly come to realize the complete lack of work-related spaces and services in our communities. As an entrepreneur and mom living in Princeton, New Jersey, my 3-year-old son has become a staple on most calls, which is both fun and extremely challenging. Flexible workspace is a $26 billion global industry, but the majority of those spaces are located within major suburban cities, and their services cater to a very small group of customers and professional needs. We are positioning The Drop-In to be the first major flexible workspace player in the untapped suburban market. As professionals and students continue to adapt to virtual work and learning environments, we want to be the primary work near home provider. Our vision is to develop an asset-light, franchisable model that mutually benefits the communities that we're in, as well as the local businesses surrounding our centers. We are selecting specific towns based on their demographic makeup, proximity to public transportation hubs, and co-location to colleges and universities. We have honed in on essential services and amenities that enable productivity and collaboration, such as individual phone booths equipped with monitors. And further, we've created simple and on-demand options so customers can pay as they go or pre-purchase discounted packages. Most importantly, our entire guest experience is driven by in-house technology, from search to on-site check-in. With multiple locations across many geographies, our goal is to cultivate a two-sided marketplace that enables our customers and centers to thrive. And of course, in the light of the ongoing pandemic, we have the strategic advantage of designing our spaces with the highest health and safety standards. Our business model and space layouts are built to accommodate lower occupancy rates and social distancing measures. Joining me in this venture is Scott Sussman. With our combined backgrounds across technology and operations within people-centric industries, we are able to tackle every aspect of this business together. Further, we are fortunate to have numerous advisors and rich networks to bring our concept to market quickly and thoughtfully. Today, we have narrowed down the initial locations for our first center, one within a residential community and the other within an opportunity zone. We have 3 asks for today. 1, we are raising capital to cover build-out costs and operating expenses for our first 2 locations. 2, we continue to seek out connections to guide our decision-making and find avenues for scalability. And 3, we are ready to speak with companies, colleges, and service providers to secure partnerships and networking opportunities. So thank you for your time today, and I look forward to your thoughts and questions.
All right. Awesome. Great job, Sneh. That was an awesome pitch, and love your background. So many flags. It's amazing. All right, cool. So let's get started with the Q&A. Saba, I will let you go first.
Awesome. Hey, great pitch there, Sneh. I think just as a verifying question, I think I missed the understanding of how this differentiates from existing co-working spaces. And if it's not a co-working space, then something didn't land. So if you can just reiterate the main point there, I think that's what I'm trying to gather.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, we are a co-working space. We're considering ourselves a drop-in workspace. And so we have hot desks, phone booths, meeting rooms, as well as day pass desks. The main differentiator for us is the target market. So versus focusing on the urban cities, we're really focused on the suburban markets that completely lack these types of spaces and services today.
Got it. Okay. All right. Let me think on that a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a quick question around sort of go-to-market. Certainly, I think that suburban markets are untapped opportunities. do you have any insight on the profile of employee or worker that would be using these services?
Yes, absolutely. So we looked at two things. One, the way that we've really refined our search by city is to look at the demographics. So we're looking at household income, industries and jobs, the number of folks living there, so density itself, as well as the types of population. So commuter towns are really big for us near transportation hubs, the people that were typically traveling to either New York or Philadelphia in our case, and are likely now looking for some options that are between work from home, work near home, and going into the office. We're also very specifically looking at towns that are located next to colleges and universities, as we believe, especially in today's rapidly changing economic and education industry, that's also a big target audience for us. So that would be students.
Okay, so mainly students and other folks who might would have rather worked at offices, but now are just commuting maybe a bit closer, maybe in their own town.
Exactly. And so that's a big key population for us, which is also why our services are very flexible. So versus the short-term subleases and month-by-month opportunities, we're really looking at daily and hourly options that give folks a variety of different ways to engage in our services depending on what their needs are.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hey Sneh, great pitch and really compelling idea. Just a couple of questions around both community and then also the supply of spaces that are going to be made available to people in the suburbs or in suburban communities. Tell me a little bit about the supply of these spaces. Where are you pulling this from?
Absolutely. So the most important thing is that we've thoughtfully positioned ourselves from a zoning perspective, not as an office, but as a professional services and commercial business. And that's really key because that opens us up to being able to have these centers within residential communities, within retail and commercial mixed businesses, and really in downtown areas. So we want to be extremely thoughtful about not only where we're located, how we're zoned, which enables us to be really creative in the types of services that we provide, but it also puts us in a direct ecosystem with other restaurateurs, realtors, professional services to create a larger ecosystem. So high traffic areas are very important for us as we are operating as a retail operations business in many cases.
Okay. Thank you for that. And just to follow up on the community portion of things, would users of Drop-In actually have access to the exact same space day over day, or is it mainly just a hot desking model?
So we don't have dedicated assigned desks at this point in our model. And really what we're focused on, to your point, is to give people a variety of different options. So one day you might need a day pass and just to heads down work for 8 hours a day. And then the other day you might need a meeting room to meet with a customer for a couple of hours, or you're looking for a phone booth to take virtual meetings like this one. And so we're really providing a lot of flexibility to our guests to engage in different aspects of our services. But the way we're monetizing that is either a pay-per-go model, so you pay as you utilize the services, but most importantly, in order to secure reoccurring revenue as well as just revenue ahead of time, we'll be bulk packaging a variety of different services and packages for individuals as a B2B or B2C strategy. But for us, the longer term vision here is a B2B2C strategy. So really targeting on companies, corporations, colleges, and local businesses as a way to be an extension of their current office spaces, or to give people the flexibility to use this as a kind of work from home benefit, which we're rapidly seeing right now in the market and want to take advantage of.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. And, we have a couple questions here in the Twitch chat. So I'm going to go ahead and fire one of them off. So from Eric Bullen, how do you see the need for these co-working spaces changing with the current and post-COVID-19 world? And what, if anything, has changed about your plans, business model, et cetera?
That's a wonderful question. And I think we have the benefit of actually designing our physical spaces and our layouts all the way to our HVAC systems, very thoughtfully keeping in mind what's happening in the pandemic right now. The way that we built our model is we're actually targeting spaces that are between 3,500 and 5,000 square feet. We don't want to maximize our occupancy like some of the WeWork experiences, but really thinking about lowest occupancy possible that still allows us to be profitable at a 60+ profit margin. We want to social distance folks that are in the space, and we're also really looking forward to creating spaces that we can contain and clean. So the meeting rooms and the phone booths are a really important aspect of our way to keep people contained and safe, as well as having outdoor space to eat. We are going to be following all of the federal and state guidelines for masks and hand cleaning and sanitizing. That's also another really important aspect of this. And because of the technology overlay, especially early on, we'll be encouraging people to book versus drop in. That way we can control capacity at all times, space out meeting booth and phone booth usage, and continue to clean and keep our spaces hygienic. So that's a really big aspect of our layout, our business model, and the way that our technology plays into managing all of this for us.
Awesome. Okay, great. And there are any follow-ups or anything else from panelists? Go ahead.
So quick question. So have you figured out your ICP, ideal customer profile, and have you had any existing validation? Tell me a little bit about both.
Sure. So versus looking at very specific personas, we've actually widened the way that we're thinking about persona to use cases, as use cases tend to be more universal. So the use case of needing a phone booth to take a virtual call or to join a virtual class, the use case of needing to meet a customer or client on site for a meeting, the use case of needing a day to just be productive and needing Wi-Fi, an outlet, and a dedicated seat. So we're really focused actually on those use cases, plus I believe to one of the earlier questions, looking at the towns and the cities and the demographic and industrial makeup. So that way we're targeting a certain area that we know will likely be able to use our services, as well as thinking about use cases versus particular personas or profiles, as that has a more universal language. And that's something that we're pulling from Spacious's playbook. And I believe there's a second part to your question.
Yeah, validation. Who have you spoken to so far, and how many that have said, yes, I want you to build what you're building?
Absolutely. So actually, prior to the drop-in, I had started another co-working technology company called Locus. We were 100% technology, and we were actually looking to bring co-working to hotels in New York City, and had timed our launch with the end of March. And then we all know how that plays out in New York City. So we had over a year of customer validation, pricing studies, conversations with actual customers, professionals, companies, to really figure out exactly what they were looking for in these flexible, non-committal workspaces that were transitional and really meant for the uses that I had described. And so based on over that year's worth of wealth and knowledge, plus the conversations that we're having right now with companies and corporations. So my background is in HR, so much of my conversations are happening with both startups as well as larger companies to think through their now new work from home policies. And we're using a lot of that, especially given what's happening in New York and Philadelphia, to go backwards and say, okay, these are likely the populations which will be working near from home, at home, majority of the time, so 20 to 100% of the time based on job. And so we're backing up into that based on our conversations with, companies, as well as individuals. So one of the things that we are just pulling together on our launching is going to be a validation survey to also go back out there. And more than anything, services are important, pricing is important, but we want to get people's attitudes around their want and their need to work in a space like this, just given the current pandemic, and how we can make them feel comfortable and safe as they're engaging with us in our spaces.
Okay.
Awesome.
Does that answer your question?
Michael, another question. It seemed like, so we're going to go ahead and go to the next startup company. If you have any other questions though, or feedback, we'll have that time at the end for you to be able to do that. And then of course, would love for you to have any follow-ups with Sneh after this as well. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Sneh.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around and viewing our first Party Pitchers Pitch event. Have a great rest of your night and see you in September where we will have 5 more amazing companies join us in the hut. Until then.